everybody, this is me Shisha. Hope you liked my last video on the Union Parliament. Today I'm here to teach you the first chapter of economic applications, the theory of demand. See, basically this is a chapter of macroeconomics. Okay, so you need to understand the concepts very clearly. First of all, we would like to look into the definition of demand. What do we exactly understand by the word demand? In normal terms, demand is the desire, the want for something, right? But in economics, what do we mean by demand exactly? Demand, or let's call it effective demand. Effective demand is equal to desire plus purchasing power. So, what is the definition? The definition of demand is demand for a particular commodity is the desire of a particular consumer backed by his or her purchasing power. So, effective demand is equal to desire plus purchasing power. Whenever if they ask you the definition of demand, please write this equation along with the definition of demand. This equation is extremely important when you write the definition of demand. See, there are many types of demand. We would be going into the types of demand now. The types of demand. We basically have many types of demand. I'll just list them for you. Income demand, cross demand, then we have composite demand, substitute demand, and also derived demand, exposed demand, and last exempt, and the last one is effective demand. These are the types of demand in general. Now we would be studying income demand and cross demand in details. What is income demand? Income demand is basically the type of demand which is affected by the income of the consumer. Now, income demand has two types of goods. Income demand has two types of goods. One is normal goods and another one is inferior goods. Since this is a chapter of economic applications, we need to know the graphs for each of them. Okay. So what are normal goods? Normal goods are basically those goods for which the consumer increases the income and increases the consumption simultaneously. Like suppose your income increases from 500 to 5,000. So your consumption will increase from 10 to 100. Do you get that? That's it. When your income increases, consumption also increases. So in economics, we usually determine income as P, this consumption as Q suffix T. Okay, so the equation stands as P is increases, QT increases, P is decreasing, and QT is simultaneously decreasing. So in this, we need to know the graph. What is the graph in this case? The graph in this case looks somewhat like this. This. In the x-axis, we will be taking QD, that is quantity demanded, and price. In the y-axis, this is the origin. The demand curve, DD dash, is upward sloping. Why is it upward sloping? It is upward sloping because when the price is increasing, the quantity demand is also increasing. The price is decreasing, quantity demanded is decreasing. Arrows are moving in the same direction. Same direction. Same is important here. Same direction. Positive relation. Positive relation. Or you can also call it a direct relation. Upward sloping curve. This is the curve for normal goods. Normal. See, now we have another type of goods which are known as inferior goods. Hope everybody is clear with this curve. It's basically that we are taking price here, quantity demanded here. Let me give you an example. Suppose you have a car. Your income is, say, 5 lakh rupees a year. You have a car. Now, suppose your income increases to 50 lakh rupees a year. When your income increases to 50 lakh rupees a year, what you do is you buy one more car or you buy 2 more cars, right? So as this price is oblique income, but please, I'm writing this oblique income only to make you understand. Please do not write this in the graph. You will get a big 0. So only see, this price stands for income here. So when your income is increasing, suppose this is 5. This is 5, this is 10, this is 2, this is 4. When your income was 5, you used to buy 2. When your income became 10, you bought 4. This is the change. This is increasing, this is increasing, this is increasing, even this is increasing. Okay, that is normal goods. Anything that you want to buy when your income is increasing. Now, let us understand what inferior goods are. Inferior goods are a special type of goods. What type? Inferior goods are those goods of which the demand decreases when there is a rise in income. Suppose when you had an income of rupees 50 per day, you used to buy, say, things from the local vendor. Okay. Things from the local market. But when your income became 500 rupees per day, you were more prone to buy things from Spencer's or things from any big departmental store. So that is what inferior goods are. Goods for which the consumer stops consuming when his or her income increases. See, there are no examples. Okay, this is very personal. It's a matter of choice. So, what do we say when we have to come to examples? Then we say this statement. There are no clear-cut examples of inferior goods. It depends entirely upon personal choice. I'm repeating. There are no clear-cut examples of inferior goods. It depends entirely upon personal choice. And then we give an example stating when a person had a low income, that person is to buy clothes from the local market. When his or her income increases, he starts buying clothes from big departmental stores. So these clothes from the local market are actually inferior goods for this particular person. That is exactly what we mean when we say that inferior goods are those type of goods for which a person reduces their consumption when there's an increase in the person's income. Now we need to come to the type of graph. The type of graph. What type of graph? The graph in this case is downwards. Let's draw the graph again. QD, price. Don't forget to give the origin 0, okay? This is also essential. This is a downward sloping demand curve, D dash. Why? Price increases, quantity demanded decreases, price decreases, quantity demanded increases. Arrows are moving in arrows are moving in the opposite direction, in opposite direction. Opposite is important. Underline opposite. Indirect or negative relation. Negative relation. And downward sloping curve. Sloping curve. Yes? I hope you have understood the two types of two types of goods that fall under income demand. Remember the statement that I made about inferior goods examples. Okay, that is what you will write when they ask you the definition of inferior goods. And please give examples along with the definitions if asked. Okay, now we come to cross demand. What is cross demand? Yeah, what is cross demand? Cross demand is basically when demand for a particular commodity depends on the demand of another commodity. Cross demand. Cross. Yeah. Now, here this will seem a little confusing. I'll just denote, okay? We are taking examples of Coke and Pepsi in the first case. Okay, there are two goods, two types: substitute and complementary. To understand substitute, we are taking two examples. This is good A and good B. PA and PB. What is the scene? The scene is when price of A increases, quantity demanded for B increases. When price of A decreases, price of B increases, quantity demanded for A increases. You get that? They are inversely related. Price of A increases, quantity demanded for A decreases. Price of B increases, quantity demanded for B increases. They are inversely related. Okay? They are inversely related. So, for substitute goods, let us take two examples of Coke and Pepsi. If the price of Coke increases, more people will consume Pepsi. If the price of Pepsi increases, more people will consume Coke. That's normal. That is what substitute goods are. So, let us draw the graph for substitute goods. When the price of when the price of Coke increases, price of Coke, we'll write Coke here, price of Coke increases, quantity demanded for Coke decreases, price of Pepsi decreases, quantity demanded for Pepsi increases. So what are they? Opposite direction. We know how is the curve? The curve is downward sloping. Up. So let us draw the curve. The curve is like this. D dash. This is the curve. So these are what? These are substitute goods. Now we come to the second type of goods. That is complementary goods. What are complementary goods? Complementary goods are those goods in which one is meaningless without the other. That is, suppose car and petrol, computer hardware and software, pen and ink, pencil and an eraser, you know, a cup and a saucer, things like that. So, even if the price of petrol increases, the quantity demanded for car will not decrease because they're related. Like one cannot do anything without the other. So they have a positive relationship. So price increases, quantity demanded will also increase. Price decreases, quantity demanded will also decrease. So how's the curve? It is upward sloping. I'll draw another upward sloping curve for you. Of course. I drew two downwards. Wait on one. Price. Q. This. So you go upwards. D dash. Don't make this mistake. Okay, see, the curve is upward sloping, so it's starting from here. So write D dash here. When the curve is downward sloping, write D dash. Because it's coming from the top. Please don't make this mistake. This is D dash. This is D dash. Okay? Don't think that D dash is always up. So we are with cross demand and income demand. Okay, there's one more thing to say, that is demand for, demand for the first type of goods, that is substitute goods, is called as competitive demand. You understand why competitive? Because they are always competing with each other. And the second type of goods, that is the complementary goods. For complementary goods, it's called, guess what? It is called joint demand. Now, we have four very short things. I'll just go through them very briefly because they are very short. You don't need to know it much. The first type of this very easy demands are composite demand. What is composite demand? Composite demand is that kind of demand for which you don't need to have other commodities for one use. It's like, suppose milk, suppose electricity. Composite demands are those kind of commodities for which one commodity has many multiple uses. It's like the demand for a commodity which has many multiple uses. Like milk. You can drink milk, you can use milk for tea, you can use milk for sweets, you can use milk for a number of things. You can use electricity for a number of things. So, demand for a commodity, I'll write it down for you. Demand for a commodity having multiple uses is called what demand? Composite demand. Remember something, students. Please do not confuse composite and competitive. It's a very common mistake, but do not confuse composite. This is composite. Substitute goods, demand for substitute goods is competitive. Do not confuse composite and competitive, please. The next thing is demand, derived demand. What is derived demand? Derived demand is basically demand for one commodity which arises from the demand for another commodity. Suppose there's an increase in demand for pens in the market. So the raw materials that are used to make pens, there's an increase in them, the demand for those commodities. So basically the demand for factors of production is called as derived demand. When the demand for a particular commodity arises from the demand for another commodity, then it is known as derived demand. You get that? Demand which is derived, that is derived demand. So the only example that you need to remember is demand for the most important thing. What? Factors of production. Demand for factors of production is called as derived demand. Now, what is I explained ex ante and ex post, right? Ex post is effective, ex ante is non-effective or just desire. There are two kinds of demand now, ex ante and ex post. Ex ante demand and ex post demand are basically two halves of the same thing. Okay. What is ex ante demand? Ex ante demand is the demand which is only the desire. Suppose you want to have something. I want to have something. You want to have a pizza. The demand for your want for a pizza is your ex ante demand. But when you have the power to purchase that pizza and have it, that's what your ex post demand is. And we have a very nice mathematical equation for it. Ex post is equal to ex ante plus purchasing power. Same thing. Ex ante is equal to desire plus purchasing power. That means ex post demand is equal to normal demand. The economical definition of demand is what we mean by ex post demands. These are basically the kinds of demands that we have. Now we need to know the factors affecting demand for a particular commodity. Now, before learning the factors, I want all of you to know the most important law governing all this demand business. It's called the general law of demand. Okay, there's one more kind of demand that we have. That is called direct demand. I just forgot direct demand. Okay, direct demand is demand for a commodity which can be consumed readily. That is things that can be consumed readily, like pen, pencil, chocolates, and all those ready-to-eat things that we have, chips, etc., etc. They are basically a part of your direct demand. Now we come to something called factors affecting demand for a particular commodity. Okay, listen, the ICSE board asks for this thing as a long answer question. So I will be directly teaching you how to write your answer when it comes as a long answer question. Okay, we have an introduction. What is that? It's the definition of demand. The introduction is the definition of demand. You will put in the definition of demand as the introduction to the answer. Please do not put in the, please do put in that mathematical equation also, because it is a part of the definition itself. Then we have one line. The line is the same as the heading. Demand for a particular commodity depends on the following factors. That is the line. Please put in that line after this introduction, and then we will go into the factors affecting demand. Now, the first factor is own price of the commodity. Before studying own price of the commodity, I would like you to know a law which governs the chapter of demand. I hope you've understood the introduction of the answer. Now, you don't need to write this law when it comes to own price of the commodity point. But please remember this law because this comes every year in some or the other form. This is called the general law of demand. The general law of demand has a statement. I will just write it down for you because it is to be remembered word by word, comma, full stop, everything needs to be remembered. Keeping all other factors affecting demand constant, ceteris paribus, if the price of a particular commodity increases, its quantity demanded will decrease and vice versa. This inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded is given by the general law of demand. So basically what we need to understand that this whole statement, keeping all other factors affecting demand constant, is equal to ceteris paribus. But we always write the full statement and in brackets write ceteris paribus. Only writing ceteris paribus won't do. And also remember one thing, this vice versa that I've written, when it comes to a 2-mark question, please do not write vice versa. Please write the statement, okay? Please write its quantity demanded will decrease, and when the price of a commodity decreases, its quantity demanded will increase. Please write the whole statement. If you write vice versa, your marks are deducted. Now we come to the topic that we were discussing. Factors affecting demand for a particular commodity. Okay, what you need to do is that when this thing comes, general law of demand, please accompany it with a diagram. The diagram is very simple, the same as any downward sloping demand curve. The only difference is that you need to mark. What do you need to mark? Yeah, that must be the question. What do you need to mark? See, last time, remember I showed you something like this, 5, 10, and here 2, 4. You have to mark similar things. This is 0. Write quantity demanded in full, write price in full. This, there will be a curve for you. There will be this first point. There will be this second point. When this increases, or this goes this way, this goes this way, or this goes this way. This is P1. This is P1 dash. No, sorry. This is P dash. This is P1. This is P. This is Q1. This is Q. Okay. This is the demand curve DD dash. It's always downward sloping. Okay. You don't need to know you need to write the explanation. That's it. You've taken this along the y-axis, this along the x-axis. The quantity demand moves from this place. the price moves from this to this. That's it. That's all the explanation you need to give for this curve. Okay, now we need to know what are the factors. The first factor is the own price of the commodity. On price, the price increases, the quantity demanded decreases. The general law of demand, whatever I taught you right now, is own price of the commodity. Now we have income of the consumer. Okay, whenever you are asked to explain how income affects the price, the quantity demanded of a commodity, please write everything that I taught you under income effect. Everything. From what is income demand, what are normal goods, what are inferior goods, and their graphs, please. Taste and preference of the consumer. Suppose you prefer Maggie, I prefer Yuppie. Yippee. So, it depends on our taste and preference, right? If more people were like you were there, quantity demanded from Maggie would have been more. If more people like me would have been there, then the quantity demand for EP would have been more. That's it. Taste and preference of the consumer. If the taste and preference of a consumer moves in favor of a particular commodity, then the quantity demanded for that commodity increases and the price decreases. Price of related goods, same as cross demand. Price expectation regarding future. This is something you need to know. I think most of you have heard this term. Speculation. Yeah. What is speculation? Anyone knows? You know, this applies for share markets. It's like when people speculate. Suppose the price of a share is like high now. Some people are there who will buy that share and hope to sell it when the price is even higher. Okay. So that is called speculative activities. It's like that. Suppose even things happen like suppose you want to buy something like suppose let me give an example. What? Okay, suppose the price of a fridge, that refrigerator that you want to buy, is going to increase next month. Now you think of buying it right now so that you get it at a lower price. This is what price expectation regarding future means. So I just write down the factors once more for you. They are all there in the book, but I prefer that you actually go through the notes that your teachers give, because you know, for micro we mostly depend on notes. It's more of notes and less of book. Own price of the commodity. Okay, let me tell you one thing. In the ABS book, okay, ABS book, there is something called market demand. Factors affecting market demand. I'll explain that also. This is individual demand, okay. This is taste and preference. Income, price of substitutes, and number 5 is price expectation regarding future. Now we have the market demand affecting factors. What are they? Demographics. What are demographics? Demographics are basically age, the amount of people of a particular age living in an area. Okay, that is what demography is. Population count. Statistical count of the population is called demography. Also age group of people. See, if the population is more, demand for certain commodities will be more. So that's how it works. Number 2, number of people in the market, that is the population. Number 2 is what? The age group. Suppose if most of the people belong to the old age group, commodities like medicines, commodities like maybe things like more lighter clothes and all of that would be in demand. But if there are young people, there would be more demand for chips, chocolate, cold drinks, and all of that, right? So it depends. With the age, it varies. That is what exactly we mean by the fact that demo age of the people around you. And there's something called the size of the market. Okay, it depends on how big the market is. It like suppose it's a supermarket and it's a local vendor shop. There is a difference, right? The market demand, there's a difference. So that is what demand for a particular commodity. There is a difference. That is what these points are there in the book, in the ABS book, titled as in factors affecting market demand. Please go through them. Please check them. I will explain you demand schedule, demand curve, and also the reasons why the curve is downward sloping today from the next part, that is from the change in demand, shift of the demand curve, change in quantity demanded, and also the like the exceptions and elasticity. I would like to explain it on the next day. So today we'll do a demand schedule, demand curve, because they are very easy to understand. Okay, what is demand schedule? We have studied about demand, right? Demand, quantity demanded, price. So demand schedule is basically a tabular representation that shows various possible quantities of a commodity demanded at various possible prices. I'll give you an example. Okay, first you need to know what a demand schedule is. It's like, suppose I'm drawing an individual demand schedule. Price, Q. Suppose, following the general law of demand, remember always, price increases, quantity demanded decreases. That's kind of the basic rule for everything that you do with relation to demand. 10 to 20. Okay, 10, 20, 20, 10, 35. This is the demand schedule. See, this is the price, this is the quantity demand, price, quantity demanded. This is the tabular representation of the various possible quantities of commodity that can be bought at various possible prices. So what is an individual demand schedule? Tabular representation of an individual's demand. Market demand schedule, addition of all the individual demand schedules in the market. There are particular type of sums that comes. Okay, I'll tell you how. They are suppose they give you for market demand. I'm just giving this UDM. Okay, there are many like. You'll see those examples in your books. I'll give you something like they'll give you a table. How? They'll write a price. They'll write QDM for you in some cases. QDA and QDB. Let's take two consumers only. I'm not taking more. It'll be easier to understand with 2, 10, 20, 30. QDA is 15, 10, 5. QDB is 20, 10, 20, 15, 10. This they give you what to find out. Okay, this they don't give you. This 20. We need to find out this. Again, they don't give you this. And they tell you to 30. Sorry. Just to be 12. Okay. This is what? These are the type of sums that usually come. You need to subtract and add. Normal, basic, operations. Nothing very complicated. Anyone who thinks economics, maths is very complicated, I'm sorry, you're wrong. Okay. This is what. And yeah. This is okay. Now we have something called demand curves. What are demand curves? Just the graphical representation of these demand schedules. How do we draw a demand curve? We plot. How do we plot? Normally as we plot. This is a demand curve. This is like 5, 10, 15. This is like 20, 30, 40. Okay, 40 with 5. 10 with 30 and 15 with 20. The curve goes like this. This is basically the curve. This is the curve. This is the demand curve. Okay. And for market demand curve, what happens is you plot these individual demand curves and then you need to add, right? When you add, then you will be having like points like this, which will join this, this, and this is the market demand curve which will join all. That is it. That's all that we have in market demand curve, individual demand curve, demand schedule. I'll just show you an example, okay? Just see. This is how an individual demand curve looks. This is how a market demand curve looks. That's it. We will be doing income, like the reasons why the demand curve is downward sloping the next day, along with exceptions, and also the shift and movement will be in one chapter, and elasticity will be another chapter, because elasticity is quite big and I require a lot of time for explaining elasticity. Hope everybody has understood everything. Anything that you don't understand about any part of this is perhaps the easiest part of the chapter, but I know it can be difficult because it's all conceptual. Please try to understand, don't mug up, because you cannot mug up the whole chapter of demand. It's really big. But also one more thing, you do not need to panic. Do not panic. And also, keeping in view of the coronavirus pandemic, please stay at home, stay safe. Hope you have many more great days ahead. Spend time with your family, and bye-bye. Please post all your comments about this video in the comment section below, and please subscribe to my channel because it's free. Bye-bye.